The Liberty can move one step closer towards clinching the top seed in the upcoming WNBA playoffs on Sunday afternoon as they host the defending champion Las Vegas Aces. So let's preview this WNBA Finals rematch with a writer who covers the Liberty for Winsidr. The great Candace Pedraza joins us now. Ace, what's going on? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Liberty are doing good. Top of the league. Fans can't complain. Good time to talk some Liberty basketball. So let's get right into it. And Ace, the scenario for clinching the top seed for New York is that the team can grab the top spot with a win and or losses by Minnesota and Connecticut. So how imperative is it that the Liberty lock up the top seed as soon as possible?
I think that it's imperative for two reasons. The first being that they obviously kind of want to know more or less where they stand this postseason in terms of who they'll be facing off with. So it would be great for them if they know if they're facing off with the 8 seed, with the 7 seed, and so on. So it would be just great for those purposes. Second of all, I do think it's really just important in terms of their confidence heading into the postseason. I feel like if they go into this postseason dealing with the rest of this schedule, including the Aces game tomorrow, they also have a Lynx game still. They have 2 more games against the Dallas Flames. They have a bit of a gauntlet to close out this season. So if they're able to get over these teams and over that hump of being able to get that 1 seed, lock it up, and have a very strong idea of who they're facing off with in the postseason, this, soon prior to the postseason even starting, having also dealt with those great teams to close out the season, it would be such a confidence booster, I'm sure, for this squad.
It would be a confidence booster indeed, and you make good mention that the schedule is not necessarily easy down the stretch as there's some other teams to face right behind them. Now, Betnijah Hamilton, she returned to the starting lineup, and she looked strong in the Liberty's 77-70 home win over the Storm on Thursday, scoring 18 points. Is Betnijah starting to look like she did before her knee surgery, and how key is she to the Liberty's title chances this season?
She's hugely key, and I think a part of that just has to do with the fact that I think any contending team would love to have Betnijah Hamilton on their team right now, whether that's in the starting lineup or off of their bench. I feel like with Betnijah Hamilton specifically, the way that she gets to the basket, the way that she scores and gets her buckets is very unique to this starting lineup because you have more ball dominant or just ball movers in Courtney Vandersloot and Sabrina Ionescu. And then you also have more post scoring in Brianna Stewart and Jonquel Jones. With Betnijah Hamilton, you have a bit of a 3-level scorer that you can pretty much always go to. And I feel like in their last game where she scored those 18 points, you saw how physical she can get with defenders because Seattle's defenders are nowhere near not physical. They are excellent defenders. So the fact that she was scoring over them, especially in the post, and just able to get to her spots, able to ball handle with ease, she looked really fluid out there. And so with her being able to take that offensive load off of players like Sabrina, as well as Brianna Stewart and Jonquel Jones, she is going to be so big for them, especially down the stretch in the postseason.
Yeah, she is, and she looks really comfortable. I think that's a great word you used on Thursday night as I was at that game at the Barclays Center, just attacking the rim, getting to her spots, and playing the elite defense we've come to see from B thus far. Okay, so the Aces, they come into this game. They're riding a 4-game winning streak, but New York, they've beaten Las Vegas in their prior 2 matchups this season. So what are the keys to the Liberty winning on Sunday at the Barclays Center and completing the season sweep of the Aces?
I think that when you look back at the last 2 games that the Liberty were able to beat the Aces in, 2 things stood out. One, the Liberty's ability to somehow dominate the boards, despite the Aces obviously having such an elite glass cleaner in A'ja Wilson. They were able to dominate in that respect. And that's something that Vegas has struggled with when A'ja Wilson is not on the floor, being able to get rebounds consistently. That's something that the Liberty do not struggle with this season especially. And so with them being able to dominate the glass and be able to dominate in second chance scoring, that's been huge to them being able to get over the Aces twice this season, despite the Aces being able to find a lot of bounce scoring. I feel like with their starting lineup, especially this season, there's been a little bit of a disconnect in terms of their scoring, how they want to run their offense, who they want to run it through. Not the case in those 2 Liberty games. They actually looked pretty darn good, especially on offense. And so being able to control rebounds is going to be huge. I think the second is just going to be bench play. The Liberty obviously retooled. They have such an excellent bench now compared to the Las Vegas Aces, who have been struggling, I think, a bit in trying to figure out who they trust enough to bring in off of that bench and from that second unit in relief of any of their starters consistently. And so with New York being able to trust their depth a little bit more, I think that's going to be something they rely on pretty heavily in this game.
Yeah, it's something that's definitely been an advantage for them in terms of that bench depth through the first two meetings this season. We'll see what happens on Sunday. Lastly, there's a chance that these two teams, the Liberty and the Aces, could meet in the second round of the playoffs. So would a season sweep here go a long way towards the Liberty looking like the clear-cut favorites to win the 2024 WNBA title? What do you say to that?
I would probably say no, only because, regular season accolades sort of only go so far. And while it would be such a confidence booster for this New York Liberty team to be able to say, we beat them, we swept them in the regular season, we'll be able to take them on in this postseason with a little bit more ease than they were last year in the finals, I just don't see that being their mentality, and I just don't see that being the case in general. The Aces are the definition of battle tested at this point, right? They've repeated, they're looking to get a three-peat. And so I think the Liberty would be happy to get the sweep in the regular season, I guess for a little bit of bragging rights especially, and I think fans would really love to see that from the team as well. But I personally think that they're probably seeing this as just a great preparation ahead of the postseason and nothing more. I don't think it's necessarily sort of a ticket punched, so to speak, to say that they're going to advance just because they're sweeping them in the regular season.
Yeah, a team like the Liberty, what they've accomplished for the best record in the W, their eyes are on the prize. That's the big one, and that's winning the 2024 WNBA title. But good matchup coming up on Sunday as the Liberty will host the Aces at the Barclays Center. That is Candace Pedraza. Check out her work with Winsidr covering the Liberty, doing a tremendous job there. Ace, always a pleasure to talk some hoops with you, especially Liberty basketball. We will talk soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.